You can help your life through music therapy. Give it a try and you'll surely see life is symbolized by the life tree. And truly happy you will be. I was in pain and now I'm free. Helped by music therapy. Now I am truly happy. So my expression is truly free. Music therapy, happy you will be. Music therapy, of pain I'm now free. Music therapy, happy you will be. Music therapy, in pain I am now free. So listen closely and listen to me. Your life is better with music therapy. It works, trust me, you will see. Your life is better with music therapy.
Oh, I might be muted.
I know. What is this thing telling me? Something about a USB device. Anyway, whatever. Who cares about that USB device? What's up, everybody? Music Therapy Labs here with Janice, the hostess with the mostest, Lalla from Lalla Land, right? What's up, Janice? Lalla? I missed you. Brent, Octopus Ears. Also, totally missed you. I'm digging a new hairdo, dude. It's good.
Just let it grow.
Yeah, man. Right on. And this is the Music is Therapy show where we'll talk about music as a form of therapy or music related to therapy and how music helps the world and people. And I think yes. and I did.
I would like to add something to that.
Please do.
About the world stuff right now.
Okay. You want to do it now or you want to wait?
Well, right now I'm into the synth scene, right, on Twitch.
Yeah.
And Twitch, they do all these raids. Like they one Twitch, one streamer an hour, the next stream, and the next stream an hour away. And these are all synth people from all over the world. How they're working all together, and they're not being no competition. They're just there for the thrill of just playing this wonderful stuff, and they just support each other, and it's fantastic how this kind of music or any kind of music really does wonders.
Music brings us together,
so
like
universal.
nothing else.
You could talk to somebody from like Jamaica, and we know the same song. People show you the same song, so you don't even know each other, but you know the song, and it's on the radio. You're all singing it together, even though you don't know the person, but the music is just there all over the world.
Yeah, let me add to that, Janice. The emotions of that music is also felt through by all those people listening to that at the same time, right?
Yes.
And I think that's what makes music so special and so connecting. And it's part of what I wanted to talk about today. Obviously, I made it my description and all that in the thumbnail. That picture, by the way, is me in the Wadi Rum Desert of Jordan at sunset. If you can see, like in the background of the thumbnail where I'm going like this, and you see behind me, that's actually me at that scene where I don't think it's the spot where they had the Martian like contemplating on the rock, but it's like that kind of a place. It was in that same desert there. And other scenes of movies from various Star Wars episodes and whatnot have been filmed in places like that. Many similar red desert kind of places, but the Wadi Rum Desert in Jordan is known as the Rose Desert, and is the site of Lawrence of Arabia and the I think that whole historical scene that occurred historically. breaking into the rock to find a spring. They're right not too far from there, a few couple hundred miles or so. I don't know why this USB device thing keeps popping up on me here. But yeah, there's the oh, stop. This thing keeps going beeping, beeping on me. Do you guys hear it? I hope not.
No, I don't think we heard it. No.
Okay. Yeah, I think it has something to do with the. Okay, you know what? I don't know if it's this or what is it. But it's kind of making me nuts. So I'm gonna disconnect from there and connect to.
Janice, I gotta say, I just
better.
love your passion for music. Just hearing you talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's still doing it.
And blamage. Don't forget blamage.
Blamage. Of course.
Yes.
I think it has something to do with this plug here. Okay, maybe.
And another artist too, but that will remain nameless.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, today's show on the Music is Therapy show is kind of dedicated to music as a way of bringing about peace and harmony. It's probably one of the only ways we find connection with each other, even at the worst of times. You know, there have been stories about wars. I think in the First World War, during the trench wars, there was some story about one day or night where the people decided that, hey, we're just going to stop. I think it was something about one side. Michael B., you might know about this. You want to pop in and talk about this? You probably know more detail about this kind of stuff.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Hey, what's happening? Michael B.
man.
Michael B. Music.
Live.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. I know remote, so I don't know how much time you have, but do you recall that that piece of history of the First World War when the two sides, I think one side heard the other side singing, and then they decided to all just stop and
Christmas.
sing.
Christmas.
It was Christmas. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard that story before as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Apocryphal story.
even two warring sides stopped
Yeah.
the madness for a day or a night or a moment.
Yeah.
And suddenly we're connected, but then they went right back at it the next day, which seems to be a revolving kind of a course of humanity in a sense right now.
Well, when you're that close, when you're that close, it's either them or you kind of thing. So you're fighting for your life, but that just shows also the camaraderie that can come between two people that come from cut from the same cloth, even if they're opposite sides, if they're going through similar things, they could find the humanity in the other side.
Yeah, right. Cool. Yeah, Lynette, it says here it was known as the Christmas truce, and it probably wasn't even an official truce. It just probably occurred, across lines, and that's the power, I think, of music as a form of healing and maybe a bridging of the gap, as I put it, or a way to connect with others, that in a way that maybe we can maybe someday in the future, maybe, because back in the 80s, I remember that 1969, give peace a chance. That's why I even used that in my title, because I'm like, I was going to use that in my title, but I used it in, I think, the description or the not the thumbnail title, but the title of the show. Because I remember that as a pretty small kid, I remember hearing music and stuff like that on the radio and things, and the ending of that horrible Vietnam War back then. But there's always some conflict going on around the world, and it just seems endless sometimes to us looking at it on the news or whatnot. And I got a little overwhelmed with it being out there, being close by. I was keeping an eye on what was going on because, just in case something really bad happened, we had to be ready to hit the trail.
Laz, can I say what we're all thinking?
Please do. Yes, go ahead.
2 years in a row, you go near a war zone. Jeez, we're worried about you, man.
Yeah, really.
The last time I wasn't that close. I was in Hungary and Germany.
I know.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. And
so we're glad you're back. And thank you to Johnny for telling us on was it Tuesday show? His awesome Tuesday show he did last week with Ron. He mentioned you had texted him, so we all appreciated that. So thank you, Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny, you're the best, bro. I sent him a link too if he wants to jump in at some point. But yeah, for sure, we had these plans. It was my wife's dream vacation originally. Around last year or so, we've been talking about going to visit my home country of Hungary, because she's never been there, where my family came from. So I was born in San Francisco, but I say raised in America, I guess, with Hungarian roots. So I had that Hungarian European community kind of here, and we were all refugees, or my family was, and I grew up as the son of a refugee family. And so I can somewhat closely relate to the traumas, because I grew up listening to the stories, and you go to these ceremonial events in the community about the 56th revolution, and then previous other wars and occurrences from the First World War, and prior to that the Ottoman Empire. So there's a lot of that history that I got to absorb up close in the Middle East. What's that noise? But what I was trying to say, like what you were talking about there, being so close to it, it was really surreal in a way. Made you kind of a little more focused on where you're at and what's going on, but a little bit more aware of, even on the ground, those people living in those countries, and what they're up against. Because a lot of times it's not you know it's not the people as much as their leadership or whoever. And we got a lot of egos involved in that kind of stuff, and we all know where that can lead. Right?
My friend just came back from Italy, and I was kind of concerned about him too. I mean, I was concerned maybe about flights.
Yeah, we were worried about that too. Hey, what's up, Will? Dreamer's Life.
Not to be too dark, but I was worried they were going to take you hostage.
Well, we had some concern about that too, and to be honest, we were originally planning to go to the baptismal site of Christ at the Jordan River. There's a site there. It wasn't too far from where we were at the Dead Sea, and it was just right on the border, and it was just not a recommended thing to go to, because even in Jordan there was some U.S. embassy state recommendations not to travel anywhere abroad in the world right now, and let alone to places right along the border. But the surreal thing is that we were in the Dead Sea at a resort that was fairly empty, right across the Dead Sea from Jerusalem and the East Bank and West Bank and whatever, right across the Dead Sea, right there. You could see it twinkling in the background, like the buildings and stuff in the sunlight. And then we went from there up to Mount Nebo, which I didn't know about until this trip. It was this site where supposedly Moses stood and looked across the landscape there over the Dead Sea and said, "There's the promised land," after 40 years of wandering in the desert. So these are the stories. These are not myth, but this is real, history. We were in these places, but it was surreal to be vacationing at a resort, floating in the salty water and enjoying ourselves while there's massacre of war of all kinds of destruction going on. We couldn't hear anything. You could not even tell from what we were vacationing, the whole vacation. You could not even tell that there was a war going on. There was no talk about it. There was nothing, I didn't see any demonstrations anywhere. There was nothing going on. And we were in Egypt and in Jordan. So, we missed it all somehow, or we just happened to be in places where they weren't, none of that action was going on. But I wanted to talk about music today because, like Michael knows how much music can be helpful individually as a person. We all do. I think all four of us can attest to that. Maybe Janice, being a little older than some of us, right? You're 29. We
39.
You probably remember some of the late 60s era stuff, right?
No, I remember the 50s also.
The 50s too. There you go.
Because I was there
Kennedy's assassination, Bobby's assassination, MLK.
When he came out, when he was like, because I was like 7 years old, 5 years old, when he was getting to be all the rage.
Yeah.
And I bought a 45 of Elvis.
Yeah, I just watched that movie finally, that Elvis movie that was out a year or so ago. on the plane. I finally got to watch it, and it was really well done. I thought it was rather spectacular how well it was done. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Sounds good. But yeah, definitely. I've been through a lot of the stuff. The War Dead in Ohio. I that was in my time. But I love to be. I've lived through all this music. Is the most thing. I just feel so bad for all you people who didn't live through it all.
Yeah. Well, one nice thing is that we have the recorded history of it. You can go find it on YouTube now or anywhere really.
Right.
Everything from Woodstock onto whatever.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Woodstock. Yeah.
I mean, that has various different attitudes about it, right, Michael? I mean,
yeah, like Woodstock, Janice. Did you know it was coming and you could go?
No, I couldn't. I was too young for that.
I know, but I'm saying, like, did people know about it or was it after?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
A couple of people that I know went, but
awesome.
I was not in that kind of a crowd to really even have that in my life to even talk about.
Well, if your parents were, you would have got lucky. That would be it. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have taken you. And that too, the way that happened was not at all the way it was planned, and it just exploded into this thing where people. I don't think it was just about the music that they came together. Though I think the music is, again, like what we're talking about here, is what brought everyone together. It was kind of like the reason or the excuse, but people, I think, came together because they want connection. We ultimately, as human beings, as creatures, social animal that we are, want to connect and connect in a peaceful way for the most part. I think there might be those that are messed up who don't,
Unless you had commercialism like in the 90s where they charged $20 for a bottle of water and then people would riot,
Well, there's that, and that's the ugly side of humanity. I think where people look to profit on the I guess lack or need of something as important as, say, water.
Yeah, that's why justice is really important, because if there's
absolutely
justice, people don't usually overreact in that way. But when there's injustice, that's when people start overreacting and flipping cars and doing God knows what.
And good morning, Vietnam.
Right. Yeah, right.
My class was exempt. They cut it off the draft just before my class is supposed to go.
Wow. Well, I know my Uncle Joe, who was of age at that time, his dad recommended to him too, because he wanted to be a pilot or be a helicopter pilot, and he recommended him to join the Coast Guard rather than the full-on, Navy or Army or Air Force or whatever, because I think they'd had enough war. He was born in Hungary, my Uncle Joe, and I think he was maybe 6 years old when he came to the United States back in 57, 58, by the time they made it through, I think, about a year or two in, refugee camps. And I mean, I've heard a lot of stories from my mom and my grandmother, even my grandfather, telling stories about how they survived the refugee camps, let alone, because there's a lot of greed in that system too, where, the people that were living in those refugee camps weren't really getting all the aid that they should have been getting. They were so vitamin deficient that every one of my mom, my Aunt Julia, and my Uncle Joe, they lost most of their teeth due to vitamin deficiency during that 2-year period. So that's pretty, you can imagine, project that into what's going on right now in places around the world, right?
Random thought, Laz, that you just triggered. In my one of my gaming groups is a helicopter pilot or former helicopter pilot. Coolest dude on the planet, and I think it's because he's been in war zones with helicopters, and he's a millennial too, so he's younger, but he's just has the most amazing look on life, and I think it's because he's been through a lot,
Sure. I think that one thing for sure, you notice this a lot in immigrants in the United States too, is that when they get to the United States, they're some of the hardest working, people because, and they have the most zeal for life. I see it among some of the immigrant people that live in the building I manage, where some of them hardly know English, but you could see in their behavior with their children and their families how they have this zeal for life, that even though they're busy, there's like this almost happiness even for the busy, crazy, work hard aspect of it, because they're free and they're able to live their lives like what you're talking about, Brent. Justice, that feeds, or I guess you could say, it supports a person's right, what we believe in America anyway, right to inalienable right to be free in your mind at the very least, right?
But
There's
Laz,
a lot of things
you're
challenging
you're
that.
an immigrant and entrepreneurial. I think you have that same spirit, and I think it's
Sure,
because
sure.
you're one generation away.
Right.
You're bilingual, right? My
Oh yeah,
parents are bilingual, so I'm one
yeah.
generation away from that. But we're all
Mhm.
immigrants, really. You know what I mean? When you
Right,
go
right.
back a generation or two or
Oh,
three.
sure. I mean, in the whole world, in a sense, too, if you really look at it, you look at all these wars and everything that's going on in the Middle East right now. It's one group suffering from another group, suffering from another group, from another group that took over some land because they wanted it for their people, kind of thing. And this is a never-ending story. Right now, though, most of the, I guess, what we call the free world is trying to do it in a diplomatic, more peaceful way, and trying to make, a democratic type process or a republic type of a process where people have some say in how they're governed and how the policies are written, so they can live a decent and just life. I guess the justice is a
Yeah.
big thing in my mind too.
Yeah, well,
Brent,
you're
I'm
making a
glad you
big
brought that up.
change when you move to a new country, and
Oh
the
God, they had
scope
no
of
choice. They
and
had no
here in the
choice.
US, there's
Yeah,
freedom and opportunity, and it's a great place to be, as much as
yeah,
we talk about all the other kind of things like, Limp Bizkit, there's so many good
right.
things about the US. Not
Yeah.
everybody smashes bottles at concerts, in the 90s, what the Woodstock in the 90s, that was such a disaster, you know?
Mhm. Right. And that was probably because of like what you were bringing up, and Brent even mentioned about justice being like, because that was clearly a money grab.
Yeah.
It wasn't done. I mean, how Woodstock happened was not for anyone's need to make money off of it.
Yeah.
It was to promote music and to create connection between the races, that I don't even believe in the whole race in the first place. Racism, race, it was created so people of power could have control over people below them and keep them fighting amongst themselves while they divide and conquer. I mean, that's a known. If you look, you study any of this stuff in social science, you realize that, oh my God, this is not even a real thing. It's been created by powerful people so that they can have an excuse to call a certain subset of humans inferior, so they can have an excuse to make slaves of them or whatever.
Yeah,
I just
and I
had
Call them
and
this
that's
like
animals
yeah.
and then use them
Oh,
as chattel.
I just had
Right.
this I just had this memory come back to me recently of back when I was a kid, and I remember the time when I learned that one of my parents' friends was Asian, and I didn't
Mhm.
understand the concept of race or anything yet. And I was just like, in my
Mhm.
head, I'm like, that's just Lisa. What do you like? I don't know. Like, I couldn't
Yeah. What do you
comprehend.
mean?
Like, so it's like, it's definitely a learned thing, It's not like,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I
But
remember one
as,
time when we were. Go
I was
ahead.
going to say, the last thing on the last topic, but the Gen Xers can be a little bit, feisty too when injustice happens, or when something we don't want to happen happens. We speak up, and we have
Yeah,
the
I
best
think there's.
music, the best concerts, everything. So,
Yeah.
Janice
Yeah.
has the best because she's seen even more than we did. But
Right.
we're the kids of boomers, so like we benefit from Janice.
Yeah, that's what's great about having her on. Like, tell us a little bit more. Like, what were some of your experiences, Janice, as a young, person back in the '60s when that whole civil rights movement really started to blossom, and you saw it in the face of the authoritarian system that we didn't probably think our system was authoritarian, if when we say we, those who weren't being oppressed, right? But the oppressed ones of the country, those people were clearly being oppressed, and you probably saw a lot of change occurring at that time, right,
Well,
Janice?
I didn't know anything about race until I went out into the world and like left Portchester. because Portchester didn't have any of that.
How old were you when like roughly?
When I left Portchester?
Yeah.
I mean, like when I started my job in Connecticut, that was like 1970.
1970. Yeah. So the Vietnam War is still going on. A lot of, there were a lot of protests at that time against the war. Civil rights laws were still being challenged by certain sectors of the society here, and they were fighting, some of the liberal attitudes that you saw popping up around like California and other states like in the East Coast there too, right? I mean, Woodstock was the farthest from California you could be, and that was as much of a flower power kind of a thing as anything, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the town I grew up in, when an Iranian family moved in, I delivered papers and stuff. They were really nice people, and that's all cool, right? Normal
Yeah.
stuff. But it wasn't normal. It was like that was the weirdest racial thing, like the town had, that neighborhood had seen.
Experienced.
Like what? It's kind of bad. We moved to the Cape when I was little, and it was totally different. It was more homogenous, or heterogeneous. Is that the right word? Yeah,
Homogenous.
Homogenous would be the single.
Yeah.
So heterogeneous. It was more heterogeneous.
Gotcha.
And I had a black friend at 5, and the only thing I remember about him and that I think about is not race; it's that he was blind. And like my vision was pretty bad, and I think my parents thought, oh, Michael's accepts other kids easy, and
Right.
So we became friends, and it was kind of cool. But I never thought about race back then, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that like you're alluding to or directly saying is that it's something that's taught and is learned, and it's something that one of the things I love about music is how it has bridged that gap and brought us back together, like musical styles around the world that have been influenced by African American culture, Latin American or Latin culture, and all kinds of other cultures from all over the world, Indian culture. I mean, look at the Beatles and their influence after going to India and experiencing that part of the world. One of the best experiences I ever had musically was actually when I was in the Hungarian dance group that I was partially managing at the time. And we got into the ethnic dance festival in San Francisco, and in the back, you had the musicians and the dancers and everybody getting ready and stuff, and we just started jamming out musically, and it was like one of the coolest things because you had cultures from everywhere around the world, from Asia, Africa, South America, Europe, like our group, America as well, different parts of Northern America as well, and all of that was just mixing together, and it was the most beautiful symphony of sounds that you ever could imagine. You could not have created that. It just kind of blossomed from itself, just from one instrument to the next, joining in, and it was like the most amazing, beautiful thing. And you're just like, I'm so glad I got to be part of this, because I experienced something that I bet few people in the world ever experience.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that also going to work in 1970, going from Portchester to go to a work at a factory.
Mhm.
A factory that was very diverse with all different races and everything. So that was kind of what the beginning was for me. So to know about all this kind of stuff, but the music part in the factory was, you definitely knew like what kind of a place you were going into because of what kind of music they were playing.
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
And it was like and there was conflicts because this dialect, this person, this race of person didn't like what his person that was working right next to him was playing, because it was completely different kind of music than they're working. So I mean, it was like conflicts of music was in a conflict in the office, in the factory.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever, like, as they walked around, like, go, "Hey, that sounds interesting," and then they start checking out that music a little bit?
Yeah, that happened too.
Yeah, I love that. Because go ahead.
I love hearing the non-12, note tonal systems too.
Yeah,
They're
right.
amazing, because it's just something you're not used to hearing.
Yeah.
Just like I used to love, collecting my paper money from the beautiful Iranian lady, it's just like, wow, it's absolutely stunning.
Yeah. Yeah.
The music is like that because it's exotic and just like the architecture and things like
Yeah,
that.
it's different. It's novel. And one of the things in this research I did, I put a lot of links, by the way, into the description, you guys. So we're not going to probably play any of those videos. There might be maybe one short part that I want to play that's out of one TED Talk thing. But there's several things there. If you have the time for it, there's a lot of really great information there about music and how it helps people through trauma and bridge the gap between each other. But also talks about the science and our understanding about how music affects our body, our cells, or the frequency and harmony of things matters. Really interesting.
At work.
What's that?
Our production at work.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, it's even beyond that. It's almost like functioning. There was this one guy, it's a little bit controversial, just like 20 years ago, gut health was controversial. Now, this is controversial stuff. They're talking about how, for example, 40 hertz frequency actually improves cells functioning in the body in certain ways that is remarkable. I'm not going to go into because it's still so controversial. It's like kind of, okay, let's get more proof behind this.
Well, not only that, but I think there's some high frequency ones that can make people sick that
there's
that.
There's that too. Mm-hmm.
It's the other side of the coin,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very interesting stuff about when you think about, okay, we can get into the physics of it. Okay, the physics of it all. If you go into quarks and just quantum physics stuff. Okay, we're waves of energy. We are just combination of waves of energy with different combinations of I guess elements with different waves happening, right? And those waves are going to function in a certain way with other similar elemental combinations, and that's kind of what the whole universe is made of, right? So
nice. You got some really good
waves.
comments, related topics, I think, in the chat. Scott Nicholson and Guitar Man.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read one out, or?
Oh, we can pop it up here, right?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. My father helped out refugee family when I was very young. Let them stay in the house right beside him. Very cool. Yeah. I have some interesting stories similar to that too. Like my grandmother was handing water and food and bread to a line of people that were being, passing through the backyard basically of where their farm was in Hungary, in the south of Hungary. And she didn't know. She just saw a bunch of looked like really out of shape people, and she just started giving them water and food. Next thing you know, some soldier, Nazi, stuck her in the line too. It says, "Oh, you want to be with them? You can join them." And my grandfather, just barely through whatever connections he had, because the Hungarians were part of the Second World War. They were part of the Axis powers in the sense that they were taken over by the Germans, obviously, but there were plenty of people within the Hungarian society who wanted back the 2/3 of the nation that was taken away from them during the First World War's Treaty of the Trianon, where the French decided that 2/3 of Hungary ought to go to their outer, the countries that are around them because of the language they spoke and how, their population was more of that language speaking, because Hungary didn't disallow it. They were okay with it. And they allowed people of different languages and different religious beliefs and whatnot to go ahead and do that. And so some of the Hungarians went along with the Germans, obviously, because they wanted back that 1,000-year historical land that was theirs, they felt. And the bottom line is that doesn't excuse any of the atrocities that occurred during that war or any war. Even what's going on right now, there's atrocities going on, and I'm going to say it bluntly, on both sides. I think it sucks that this is how it's going down, and that one side doesn't see another option than to do this way. I think it sucks. And it's hard to, if I'm in their shoes, either side, if you're in either side's shoes, what do you do as a citizen of that nation? What are your choices, right? And it's kind of like what some people in America are feeling too, with the sides that they're taking here. We're pretty polarized right now in the United States as well. And some of the extremists are the ones leading the rhetoric, which is really sad to see. And I think, yeah. And I think part of the, some. Well, that's the whole point, is that it's always some, right? But the majority, if you look at the majority when people are polled, for the most part, and I don't know how good those polls are, but if you understand statistics and how these polls typically work, they're fairly accurate. And the bottom line is that most people have a pretty fair, perspective of how they want things run, and they're not that hard line about some of these things. Whereas these political footballs are used as a way to maybe force people to choose one side or the other, and then put people behind this wall or the other and say, okay, you have to choose now what you believe or don't believe or whatever, and it forces people into having to take sides rather than the opposite, which is finding the things that bring us together rather than separate us, right? So so music to me is one of those things that really bridges that gap. A lot of times it'll bring people together because they'll feel that same emotion in that song or in that movement or in that whatever, and they can relate, and then all of a sudden they're able to relate with each other on the same subject or the same situation at hand, and maybe say, why are we fighting? Why are we doing this? Why can't we just find a way to get along? And then have the courage to stand up to those who, like what you're talking about, justice, again, octopus ears, right? Stand up to those who don't have that in their heart, or perhaps are maybe just using that those lines of difference to elevate themselves, perhaps, maybe, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, let me see if I could find this. One little tidbit here that I saved. Hoping I can find it in my my history quickly enough, because I did a lot of jet lag, you guys. I was going to talk a little bit about the trip too. Jet lag is one of the things when you're 9 hours.
You still can, Laz.
You're right.
You still can.
I'm working on it.
You played the guitar since coming back, Laz?
No, I haven't even touched an instrument since I've been back. I haven't had time. Yeah, which is kind of nuts, right? All right. You know what? I might have to pull it out of my email.
So, Brent, you have a show coming on Wednesday?
I'm going to pull that right out of my email.
What's that?
Yeah, dude, Michael B. Yeah, I got it. I'm starting up a show on Wednesday mornings.
That's
10
awesome.
o'clock.
I work at home, so I'll tune in if I can. Unless someone's on the phone with me. Yeah, I'll be there.
Cool. I appreciate
it.
In the chat.
Sweet.
Yeah, and, hopefully I can get to the point where I'm having people on the show too. And
nice.
It'll be fun.
Nice. The new guitar looks amazing.
Yeah, man. You want to show that right now? Lift it up, dude. Here, let me highlight you well.
Woohoo!
Do that. All right, here we go. What is that? Tell us.
The 2004 Gibson Flying V, non-faded model. It's in cherry, so it's a 67 reissue. Nice. I have some chrome covered pickups coming forward, so it's going to change the look of it a little bit. Because I think this looks a little too close to the faded series, so I want to get some chrome covered pickups for it. And, I got an ABR bridge coming forward too.
Right on.
A couple little tweaks, and it's going to be good to go. One thing that's funny, I've left it so far. See if you can see what's wrong with the headstock.
I'm not looking at it, so you guys are going to have to comment.
Look at the string angle on the high strings. They're wrapped on the wrong side.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Yeah. Oh.
That was kind of funny.
That's going to give me some triggers.
Triggers.
Scott, it's the stock pickups right now. It's the 500T and 498R, I think. Yeah, I know it's a 500T for sure. But yeah, I got a Burst Bucker 1 and 2 coming for it. Came out of a gold top standard. Go ahead and throw those in there. It's going to be a little not quite as hot, which I prefer. So, and I think the look's going to be really good with the chrome covered pickups. And
Mhm.
Yeah, the ones that are stocking it, they are hot. I haven't even plugged it in, but I've just listened to stuff online and just people talking about it that are hot. Yeah, I literally haven't even plugged this in. I just played it acoustically.
Nice.
Yeah, this is the new one.
All right, let me bring everyone else back. I'm still trying to find this. I thought I'd saved it in a simple place to save, like my
Thanks, Blackjack.
watch later list in my playlist.
Right.
And I can't find where's oh, there's my watch later. Okay, here we go. I found it.
Go.
All right, let's see. All right. I think it's this. I don't know. I think it's this one.
Yeah, Sean, I still have the Les Paul. So these are my two guitars right now. I sold the piece of what I had, so I have two Gibsons right now. I've got the Les Paul and the Flying V. Yeah. Dirty Fingers pickups I heard are really good. I've never played them though.
Yeah, this is not it. Dang it. I thought I'd saved it in an easy to find spot. Now I can't find it. It's typical of me. It was in the middle of the night too when I was doing this, because I woke up in the middle of the night because jet lag. Jeez.
Laz, did you experience any music, at restaurants and things like that? Anything interesting?
Yeah, I actually got to jam out with the Bedouins.
Yes.
As a matter of fact. Did you see that through I was putting some stuff up on Instagram. And if you're in my Facebook page, so you'll see it there. But yeah, I did get a chance to play like some kind of a bongo thing with the Bedouins at the Wadi Rum Desert, and I got to play on this kind of guitar-like thing that.
That's great.
Similarly, but not quite to like a standard guitar. So I was just fumbling around on stuff, and at the end, I played da na 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 na.
Oh yeah.
And then I said, "Come on, you guys, you know this one."
Do they know it?
And then I started singing it a little bit at the end. Let me go on, and then everyone laughed, and that's okay. So that was kind of
now,
fun.
Laz, what did you do when the 12th fret marker was on the 11th fret or the 13th?
Oh, yeah, I don't look at it. I don't even know what I'm playing on the guitar, the regular one, what key I'm in or what I'm in yet. I still haven't learned the fretboard that way, like where I just immediately know where I'm at, like on the piano. I haven't put the time into it yet to really study the fretboard, so I know it that way. I mean, I'm getting better slowly at it, but I don't play enough every day to really have it like ingrained into my brain yet. So
I'm just curious if the fretboard is different. I never thought about that before.
No, actually, when you think about it, any stringed instrument, when you think about it, you're just basically going from the nut to the bridge, and then in the middle of that doesn't matter if it's the 12th fret or whatever fret it is, it's going to be an octave, right? And
right,
so
but
then you've got two octaves.
When you do the math, the frets have to be in a certain spot. So
right,
it does divide it.
That guitar had no frets.
Okay.
So it had markers, but it had no frets. So it was a fretless guitar, and I had to, like a slide, you just find your way to the right note. Right. And so I did all right. By the time my sweetie even said, yeah, and at first it was sounded a little weird, but then it started sounding good. And I'm like, yeah, it was a fretless guitar, and I was trying to find what was, but at least there were markers, and then you knew where you're at once you kind of knew where you were from that point of where you hit a note, and you can, okay, where's the next interval that you want to go to, right? A third or a fifth or whatever. And then you pretty quickly, can figure that out, right? So that's mostly how I've always played guitar. Just like with piano, I figured out patterns. I still haven't I'm getting some patterns down on the guitar, but I haven't learned like cage system or any of the kind of pattern stuff. I really, really enjoyed watching. I think his name's Andy Wood. He's like a Tennessee, Nashville like session and music guy is awesome. I just discovered him because of the Dan and Mick TPS show on Friday.
Yeah, I saw him on there too. Yeah.
Damn, that guy is so cool. Watch some of his videos, how he breaks down Van Halen and Eric Johnson and all this stuff, and it's like I so connect with Eddie Van Halen's style of musical like creation because of the same way we both discovered music, by patterns. Because I recognize that the way Eddie plays in the music and how he plays music is all about patterns. And that's the keyboard to me too. I figured out the keyboard and I understood music and intervals and chords and stuff like that through patterns and especially triads. And so now when people talk about triads on the music theory side of things, I get what they're talking about because, oh, okay, I figured that out when I was like, by the time I was like 12 years old, I had it down. I really understood a lot of things. And that's when I started to get a little bit more into some of those chords that aren't your standard major minor chords. And I was listening to like stuff like by the Beach Boys or by even the later Beatles stuff, and then stuff like Billy Joel and then I discovered jazz, and Brubeck and all these other guys, I mean, holy mackerel. Yeah, Monk, Thelonious Monk, holy crap.
Oh yeah.
So when you get into that
Herbie
kind of
Hancock.
stuff, yeah, Herbie Hancock, and then you get into the
Amazing.
classical side of stuff, all the wild stuff that was going on, from the classical to the Baroque to the classical to the Romantic period to, everything in the 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s on up, the Kodai, the Bartok, stuff that's Hungarian that I learned about. I'm like, oh, all this Western music, that's Kodai. All these like American Westerns, like da, 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 all this kind of like prairie, that's Kodai. That's like a classical. I didn't even know. I'm like, wow, that's cool. It's a Hungarian dude. And then like Space, 2001 Space Odyssey, that famous music that's in that, not the don, 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 da, da. That one we all know, but there's that other symphonic stuff that's going on there. I even forget the composer's name. He was never even paid for the music used in the movie, but there's this Hungarian composer that composed that weird sounding kind of like, I don't know how else to describe it other than space sounds. I don't know. I mean, it's just like, but it was all an orchestra. I'm trying to remember his name, but anyway, you can look it up. But the music of 2001 Space Odyssey, and you'll find it. But the bottom line is I started to make connections to my Hungarian heritage through music, and then all this other stuff, and like you guys were talking about, like the influence of Indian music and even Middle Eastern music and Arab music. I mean, the note choices and rhythmic choices and things are so different and so novel, and that's what the brain loves. The brain loves something new, something different that challenges it. That no, that's that old boring. Dun, 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 dun. Let's hear something else, Dun, 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 dun. Then all of a sudden you're going like, what's that? And then people put that to different rhythms and different instruments, and you get somebody like Halsworth who wanted to be a sax player, and he's playing the guitar like what it should sound like on sax.
Yeah,
and that's why he was so different and unique. But he wasn't that popular because it was weird for people. It was too novel.
Yeah. So Laz, that kind of brings the discussion back around.
Yeah.
You started with the Christmas Story, which is amazing.
Right.
That's kind of like music for peace, like they sang together, right? Then we talked about culture exchange, which I think then the peace becomes like a secondary effect. What if we bring it back around? Do you have anybody here have any thoughts about, how can music today, bring people together? Like in a more direct way and not as a secondary effect. Any thoughts? The first thing I thought of was the trip to Russia. The Scorpions and supposedly
Billy Joel. Remember that?
Yep.
Well,
But let's not go past the story of the Scorpions though. It's like supposedly the government like secretly hired this German band to make a peace song so that like we could go to Russia and have a concert and do a cultural exchange and all that stuff. Metallica on the plane getting drunk on the way to Russia,
Yeah, right. Not that Russians didn't get drunk on their own anyway.
No.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing about like even like rock and roll, being this rebellious music. The music of the whole, tying it back around to the Elvis movie too. That was a time when here was this white kid growing up in poverty in the South, and experiencing that world, because of his exposure to that, but then being influenced emotionally and physically and all these ways by not just the music but the culture, the freedom of that culture. What's interesting is the African American culture in some ways, even though they lived through quite a bit of horrific trauma through and still do, of not just slavery but just basically being considered second class or lower class citizens, if at all citizens, right? And but at the same time, because of that, they had a freedom to live their own life in a way within their own areas, their own place. They were able to live, do their music, do their religion, live their, to a degree, right? That level of freedom that they had, and then that got expressed through music into the world. And someone like Elvis brought it to the world, brought it to America, brought it to the world. And you look at that, like that movie really encapsulates that in a really interesting way. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's just definitely worth watching.
Great. Yeah.
But
hey, Rhodey's doing
yeah.
okay. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Rhodey? Yeah, but what else, you guys? People in the chat, let us know your thoughts about, how do you see music bringing about peace in the world? I'm all for, like, I think we ought to do, now that what's done kind of in the world. I think most people are pretty much aware that we're probably done with the sea thing. It would be great to see some kind of a peace movement through, like, some kind of a big world concert kind of event. It's just something that's out there to bring awareness to the fact that we're all really the same in most ways. We believe in the same thing and we want the same thing.
Right, and throw
for
the
the most part.
commercialism out. Get it completely
Throw
out
the
of it.
commercialism out and make it all, completely organic and completely, nonprofit or whatever you want to call it. Any proceeds or money that might go to anything should go to organizations that would feed, and help the needy in the world, right? Because there's plenty. I mean, look what happened.
I was gonna say, think about Live Aid '85. Oh my God!
That's exactly what. I might have to tell my sweetie, don't use the internet, honey, because I'm on Bluetooth, or whatever, wireless. But yeah, exactly. Some kind of a Live Aid or something like that.
Laz, you should be today's Bob Geldof. That's it.
God,
I'm
I
gonna nominate you.
I wish I had that kind of pull. That guy had connections, and he was able to make something like that happen. There are people out there that could definitely make that kind of thing happen. So we should be calling them. We should be, I remember even talking to Jason McNamara before the sea thing happened. And he was talking about doing this organization, trying to get something going that's kind of like a Make-A-Wish Foundation, but something more global that got musicians, together to help not just individual people like Make-A-Wish does, but groups and organizations, and there is actually one. I put it in the let me see if I can bring it up on the
offering.
So there is one organization called Playing for Peace. I think they call it playingforchange.org. That was one organization that, if you want to look that up, it's on the description.
The problem is that some people don't like that organization because of politics, so that it has to come from something completely separate from politics, completely separate from religion, completely separate from a country, from a company.
Right. This group, do you know of this group? They're about just bringing music into places where there aren't, just kind of like the Mr. Holland's Opus kind of organization or whatever it's called.
Exactly.
That kind of thing, and I don't know if it's political or not, but I'm a supporter of Guitars for Vets too, because maybe this thing that happened in Maine might not have happened is that guy had guitars instead of guns in his house. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I can't help but think that,
That's a mental illness function too, which is another discussion.
It is, but it's also a social illness dysfunction too, because there were plenty of signs, plenty of people raising the flag, and people just again not listening. And that one Democratic congressman who stood up and said, you know what, I'd opposed gun laws before, but I'm all for them now. I'm done.
It's not
And
about
he's
laws.
on board.
It's not about
Yeah.
laws. It's about
Well, I think you gotta create
health.
policy, though.
It's
You
about
gotta create
health.
policy.
And we can have freedom and we can be safe too.
Yeah, I agree. I think that what level of freedom, though, just like when we can't go into a theater
I
and
don't even think
yell
I don't
fire,
even think it, I don't even think it should be a question. I don't
Right,
even think it's in the
right,
discussion,
right.
honestly.
Yeah. The bottom
'Cause-
line is that there are ways through governmental, that's what democracy is supposed to be. It's supposed to be us voicing our opinions on policy and trying to bring about policy change that should benefit the greater society. And when we see problems in society and there's no end in sight to the problem never ending, something's got to give, something's got to change, and
Yeah,
maybe
the way I grew up too is that your freedom ends where other people's rights begin, kind of thing. So you
yeah.
have the freedom to do whatever you want as long as it doesn't infringe on other people. That was what I was taught. Freedom really
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. And then you have to measure, when it comes to infringing, right? Because that's where it's at. It's in that gray area. There you have to start measuring, okay, how important is this particular right someone's fighting for? Like to own an automatic militarized style weapon. As someone like that, particularly, should not have had the right to own those weapons because he was clearly incapable of making the right kind of decisions to be responsible for himself, let alone those weapons. And look what happened. And and we're speaking again to what you're bringing up, Michael, is this is a healthcare issue, just like the drug war thing. All of us people with sound mind, I think, I call it of sound mind, rational sound mind, realize in that, or maybe have some education on it too. That's also important. So ignorance is bliss, as they say it, or maybe it's trauma too. In the situation where we don't have a healthcare system that functions to serve all, so that we can all be at least rise to a level of certain, level of mental and physical health, then those problems start to tear at and break down our society. And we see it through these kinds of actions that happen, because that guy was clearly in need of help. My wife asked, why would someone do this? How do they do these terrible
Because
things?
he's
And I'm like,
sick.
he doesn't know any, he's out of his mind. It's not a
Having
rational,
been much
know,
less
it's nothing
emotionally
rational.
dysregulated than that,
right? Right.
like not to
No.
that level, but you don't, my worst thing is I go around and yell and scream and be grouchy, right?
What makes someone want to commit
But
suicide?
if it had been
Same
worse,
thing.
that's what I was going to say
Yeah.
that, but we say
Yeah.
SIs, Laz, don't say
Right.
that. So
Yeah.
SIs, STs, you don't say it.
STs.
Thank you.
I didn't know that you don't say it.
You say SIs and STs, ideation and I forget the T right now because
Tendencies.
lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
But it's not a stretch, having been to the point where my body was being controlled by my feelings, which were out of whack.
And how was it out of whack?
Not a stretch, because I was physically sick.
And why were you physically sick?
Because of diet and stress and lack of sleep and my illness.
Why didn't you know the proper diet and you had lack of sleep and all these things? Because you didn't have the information. The information wasn't given to you. The information is easily given. It can easily be given, especially today.
And that's where some of my stuff is going towards. Like my life has been changing. So Laz, you're gonna have me on in the future because I got a bunch of stuff that's
when are you gonna come
up and forming.
When are you gonna have time?
Well, I have a conference I'm speaking at next Friday that is for medical professionals to learn about how to do lifestyle, diet, and things like ketogenic therapy.
Yeah.
For all kinds of illnesses, and it's doctors of all kinds. And this one's about psychiatry for the most part, but the people that are going to be there's a cardiologist and a nutritionist. Like it's pretty broad.
Is this the one in Britain?
No. I'm this is going to be in Boston. So I'm leaving Thursday to Boston, and I'll be there all weekend, and it's going to be great. But you should have me on Sunday, and then we can talk about how
sure. Yeah, if you're going to be available.
I got other things too, like friend and I are gonna do maybe a nonprofit, and going to use education and board games or electronic and board games as a educational tool, and the whole focus is this exact information dissemination, just to try to get it out there. So it's kind of cool.
Great. Yeah, I look forward to that. So we'll definitely talk during the week and then put that show together for next Sunday. Yeah, sounds great. Scott Nickerson says something really, really important here. See, I had a bout of depression. My doctor basically let me go. I guess that means he just like dropped the ball, right? Luckily, I had family for support. Health system failed. So we have a broken health system. That's clear, right? A lot of people aren't getting the help they need.
Well, one thing we've talked about in the past too, Les, is how, you know, the American system or Western medicine is more about treating symptoms as opposed to necessarily treating the actual problem. I did want to say real quick too, condolences to Mr. Ryan Hall. He said he lost a cousin recently.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Ryan. Yeah.
Terrible. Fuck cancer.
Well, are they living close to each other?
Yeah. I don't know.
Is there any reason why it's
possibly
the same cancer? Genetics?
I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to say nowadays too, in my opinion, because I think environment has so much to do with cancer. If you look into the history of cancer around the world globally, you have someone that leaves from living in a rural, you know, agricultural kind of like, you know, natural place, and then moving where there's no cancer, moving to say the Bay Area where you have the stresses, the lifestyle changes, the food, all the environmental, probably, you know, pollution and stuff that's in the air, the ground, the water, everything, and then cancer, you know, appears out of nowhere with those same people that came from a place where there was none. So environment has a lot to do with it. It's not just physical environment, it's, you know, the stress environment, all the other you know, challenges in life, right? And there's nothing that causes cancer and kills you faster than stress.
William De Silva shouting out a good deal going on right now.
Oh, okay, check that out. Yeah, and then I got to cut the show short or normal time here, just because I got lots of things to do, and I really appreciate everyone coming, and we'll continue this stuff in the chat and in the comments. But I did promise a giveaway. Right.
All right.
So should I go get the giveaway? Why do you guys chat about this a little bit, and I'll go grab the giveaway thing, because I should have brought it in, but I forgot to bring it in. Hang on.
Is this for 2024 or 2025 that's going to go out? Which one?
You know what? I should start the giveaway tool while we're at it. So everyone, I should have already had it on, right? All right, StreamYard.
I think people in the chat will love to see a goodie. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it. Where's the StreamYard giveaway?
I love those Aerodynes for $600. That's less than a Mexican made fender. That's a killer deal.
Let me go ahead and get this giveaway tool going.
If I had $600, I'd buy one right now. I have no use for one, but that's a good deal.
Should be right here, right? The giveaway page. There it is.
I like the white one and the blue one most.
All right. So the word that I want you guys to put into the chat is Petra. Just like that.
Oh, loud.
Let me go ahead and bring that in. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Present.
Hey, Patty.
Share screen. There we go.
And there's a orange.
And start. There we got one entry already. So keep bringing in the entries. I'll be right back.
That's Petra, as you see. Patty Dill and Keith H. Spell it right there. Petra. I think that's the right one. Yeah, the blue one, William. That one's cool.
So Brent, we can wait till your show on Wednesday to find out. But like, what do you use to stream? How do you get the sound through to the computer in the StreamYard?
I'm just StreamYard, and I have going direct from the back of my Victory V4 Kraken amp.
Nice.
So it has a two notes cab sim out, so I'm going from that into my interface.
Yeah.
And then just using the vocal mic. But I figured out from Johnny Bean that I needed to turn off, like, there's a setting that to remove background noise, and that's the one I need to turn off to
in StreamYard.
come through. Yeah. So,
but you're not getting any
any
compression or that washiness at all. It sounded good, the video you did the other day.
Okay, good.
Well,
so hopefully it all comes across nice. I want it to sound good.
The background noise Should it be checked or not?
For when you're
No.
playing music, it should be not checked.
Not
think
checked.
for just-
Like
For just vocal stuff,
Yeah,
it's okay. But
and the auto adjust too, that can cause problems. So the auto adjust, the echo cancellation, and
pretty much all of it, right?
and the noise one. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not doing stereo either. Because if I click at stereo, it automatically pans it hard right, hard left. So I'm not
Yeah.
using stereo.
And
much.
it hurts your bandwidth, so you don't really want that.
Really? Okay.
Unless you have a great sound and you can make the stereo work and a great internet, then it sounds great. But you got to plan for it.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Like if you had like in my Helix, I have a stereo out, so the delays and the chorus all work stereo, so it sounds okay, and the guitar's in the middle, and that's okay.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Ryan Hall. Petra is Greek for rock.
Nice.
So
You
we got
learn something new
everyone's
every
writing
day.
Petra in here. Patty Dill, what's
I'm-
happening, Patty Dill?
I'm ready to Petra.
You ready to Petra? Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh. So we got 10 entries so far. There's 23 people in here, so let's hit that, you guys. Scott Nicholson, hey, what's up, dude? We got Keith H, what's up, dude? Janice, anyone can play. So anyone, even if you're a host or whatever, you can play. And next Thursday, we'll also do another giveaway similar to this one here. You want to see it? You want to see what it is?
Yeah.
Let me show you guys.
Mm.
It is a Jordan Petra fridge magnet. Hold on.
Cool. When it was blurry, it looked edible.
There you go. Here. Oh, there we go. Oh, there. That's nice right there. And
Cool.
if you guys want to see a really interesting documentary on what Petra's all about, just YouTube, Google, whatever you call it. The Nabateans, Nabatheans, Nabateans, or Nabe, I don't know. They were the society that lived in Petra and created Petra, and it's rather interesting history that I knew nothing about until
Hey, Zach.
all I knew was Indiana Jones. That's all I knew. And there's a lot more, carved out tombs or whatever, these kind of memorial places. They're known as tombs. There's many more of them than just this one. There's a lot. And I'll be posting pictures of that stuff up on the Facebook once we've got the rest of our stuff together here, unpacked and whatnot. Yeah, it was amazing, Patty. It was an amazing vacation. It was an amazing experience. We went to Greece. So real quick about the trip. We originally were going to go to Hungary this year in August and then go to like maybe Austria, Vienna, Salzburg, maybe visit the LNH LNM LNM Guitar Corner guys, or maybe go to Italy or something. I don't know. We were kind of thinking about that. Wayne McConnell, what's up? Thanks for joining. Yeah, and because of the crazy summer expectation of people vacationing, we decided not to, and that was a good move. And we decided to move it to October, but we knew weather-wise we'd be better off more southern Mediterranean. So we thought my sweetie's like, she's dreamed to go to Egypt all her life and go to Santorini, and they're close enough to each other. We thought, okay, let's do Egypt and Greece. I mean, Egypt, yeah, Greece and Egypt. So we landed in Greece in Athens, and then went to Egypt and did the Giza pyramid area. We rode camels. We did that. And then we went on a Nile cruise for 4 nights and 5 days. And then at the end of that, we went to Jordan, to Petra and Wadi Rum Desert on the way back to the airport that day, the Dead Sea, and floated in the Dead Sea, which is really weird. I mean, if you guys know what the Dead Sea is all about, it's Dead Sea because it's so salty. There's nothing living in it. I didn't even see a boat on that sea because you can't probably have a boat on there because it would flip over or something because it's the buoyancy problem, right? You'd have to have it so heavily weighed down for it to function in that water because it changing physical properties of things, and all of a sudden laws of physics are different than what we're used to, right? And suddenly you just go into that water and you just lay back and you're just buoyant like a balloon. It's funny as hell. you can't, if you try to swim, like flip over and swim, you're going to be like, you know, and you're going to get salt in your face and in your mouth and everything. And so really the only way is to kind of like sit in a chair, like seated position with your knees up, or just lay on your back like that. That's basically it. It was pretty wild. Very, very salty, because I did get a little in my mouth. I'm like, oh my God, this is like insanely salty. Yeah. And then went up to the pool and, you know, showered off, of course, and then jumped into the pool there. And they had like this poolside bar, so you swim up to the bar. Like, yeah. So I had
Now,
a little.
do you do that thing, Laz? Like when I went to Cannes for a film that we worked on, I had to like get into the Mediterranean just for a second. Like I got to touch that water. You know, like do you do that kind of stuff too?
Oh yeah, I mean everywhere you go,
Yeah.
you want to go into everything, you know. As a matter of fact, when I was in Petra, I also got this from this really nice lady. If you ever go to Petra, you guys, on your way up to the 900 plus step overlook, you have to go 900 plus steps, and I think it's more than that. I think it's double that. They just lie to make you think it's only that much, but it's easily over 900 steps to get there. There's this overlook of the Petra treasury, as they call it. Let me just grab this one photo of it for you guys. There's a lady that has there's people that have shops all over the place. We actually bought frankincense and myrrh, the official frankincense and myrrh, from this one guy. But yeah, that was the second day in the morning when we were there. But on our way up to Petra, the overlook of the treasury, there was this really nice lady. Oh, you know what? Yeah, it's got to be here. And her name was Werda. And the reason why I can remember her name is because, you know, I do these memorizing tricks. And so I think, where the hell?
Yeah, that's straight out.
Where the hell is she? Where the hell did she come from? So where the hell do you go shop when you're there? Where does shop? Anyways.
No, there's this guy I used to work with. He was the slowest worker I've ever worked with before. His name was Shlomo.
Shlomo.
Like,
there you go.
We call him Slow-Mo easy.
Apropos.
Yeah, how do you forget
deal.
that guy's name, right? Shlomo. So let me pull up. So here's Werda. There's got to be a picture of Werda here somewhere. So we went there because she was offering to do our Egyptian eyes, or whatever they call, not Egyptian, but the Bedouin eyes, like they blacken your eyes or whatever. So that's her. Let me solo me here. So she put one of them things on my head. I already bought one in Egypt when we were there, the black one, because it actually worked better to shade me than a baseball hat. And there's Werda right there. And we really got a really great deal from her too. We bought some really nice like silver jewelry as well. But that's the one that I bought for my sweetie. And yeah, but the Werda shop was on the way up to this spot. Let me show you guys this spot. This is amazing. So let's see if we can get yeah, there's my sweetie there. You're sitting in this guy's little tea tent, having some hot Bedouin tea, which is really yummy, and that's your view.
Holy crap! Is that like Indiana Jones?
Yeah, that's the place. That's the place.
Oh man,
that's the Indiana Jones place.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I thought this was cute. I said, "Hey, honey, put your hand like this," and we did like the heart.
That must really light up your happy brain when you.
Oh my God, it was amazing, man. It was like, yeah. I mean, this is one of the places we both dreamed of, you know, going to. One of these like bucket list places.
Amazing.
Yeah, look at her there. Smiles from ear to ear, right? And there was so much more on that in that park, in the site there, including this big like outdoor theater. Look at carved into the rock. All is carved out of the rock. And then when the Romans took over, then they also changed it up quite a bit. And there's like this grand. There's so many things, but the stairs. Oh my God! Gives you an idea of like, what was that in the movie Kill Bill where she had to go up the stairs? That's nothing. So at Where to Shop, I also got a new unboxing knife. And look what it has on it.
Nice.
Petra, right? Check this thing out. Looks pretty deadly, right?
That is cool.
Anyway, it's got some inscription there. I'm not sure what it means, but it's in Arabic.
Now, is that a gift shop item? Would you say
it is? You see it everywhere. Yeah, they make it.
Well, that's good because I might go online and get my wife a Christmas present. She would love that.
Go. Yeah, I don't know if you can buy that like from the States, but maybe you can.
I could try.
But you definitely can try. I mean, people sell stuff, right? So let's see where we're at with the giveaway. Should we spin the wheel?
Yeah, spin it.
See how many. It still says just 10, but let me refresh that one there. Oops. What happened? Did I just mess it up?
Answered is the 1 in 10 chance. That's good.
Did I just mess it up?
Okay.
I think I might have. No, it shows 8 entries now. It said 10 before. All right, everybody, just hit a number 1. Let me get rid of the let's do it again. Let's change this. Hold on.
Or take the code off.
View the tab. No. I don't know. We go back. Okay, I'm just gonna take out. Okay, I'm gonna take out any words. Include when we're gonna do multiple draws. Well, I don't know. All right, now it's showing 17. All right, that's good. Hold on, let me show you guys.
You want to be inclusive, lads.
Yeah, I'm an inclusive guy. You know that. All right, so we've got 17. So should I give everyone another second or so to pop in a 1 or whatever? No, you can just put anything. You can put a happy face. You can anything you type into the chat right now is going to get you in the running for this fabulous prize. And then next time I have an unboxing, this is what I'm going to use from now on, which is super cool. You guys all know I got this last time around, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. The Friedman IRX. I can't wait to mess around with that some more. Maybe I'll have some time today. Oh yeah, it's wow, very well thought out. I mean, I think it's an aux killer if you ask me when it comes to the UA thing, because it allows you to use other IRs, but it's not just an IR loader or player. It's like a synergy kind of module in its own, but in pedal format. You could put into the effects loop of a amp head or an amp or whatever, and there's so many different combinations of ways you can plug that in. Plus, it's MIDI. I mean, it's just it's.
Do it on a Thursday night. Go show it to us.
Yeah,
be great.
Well, I did last time when I opened it, but I didn't get that deep into it yet. I gotta mess with it more. It's gonna take me some time because I'm not that, I guess, schooled on these kind of like very deep pedal IR loader dealies. But it'll take me a little time to get into it, but probably in the next couple of weeks or so, I'll be able to do a better, demo of it.
IRs that are loaded on there already.
Right. I mean, just without even an interface hooked up to my setup here, so that you could really hear it right. But imagine that hooked up to the
computer going with your interface. Get that going wet, dry, wet. Ooh, buddy.
With the Roland, right? Yeah. The boss. Where's that Roland? It's Roland, isn't it? Or they call it boss. They're calling it a boss, right? Yeah.
But
that thing's also
thing.
sick. Yeah.
So what they're selling is what the label they put on it.
Exactly.
All right, William De Silva's in. You can do the spin now.
All right, William De Silva. Okay. All right, we ready? You guys ready? Okay, I'm gonna hit it. We've gone 20-something minutes already, so here we go. See who's going to be the big winner, chicken dinner. Zach Thong. All right, Zach Thong. Right on.
Canadian friend.
Zach. Dude, I can personally deliver to you this Thanksgiving weekend, or I can send it to you in the mail tomorrow. You choose.
Does he live in LA?
Tell me in
the going to Canada?
Well, no. Aren't you in the LA area?
He's in Canada.
You know what? Why was I thinking that he's in the LA area? Maybe because I thought because of NAMM or I don't know why. Why did I think that? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Zach, I'll send it to you in Canada. Send me your address if I don't already have it. Maybe I do. Let me see. I think you've won something from me before. Let me look you up on my phone. Let's see. All right. Contacts. Zach.
He's here.
Raya.
He sees it. So
Right on. Let me see. It's not coming up right away. Here's Zach. Song. It says no results. Oh, I'm going to have to look you up on my emails. Send me your info because maybe I don't have your phone number. And if I don't put like a fake phone number, like 12543 whatever, and then your email and name, it doesn't come right up on my phone. I don't know why. It's a weird thing. Let me see. Let me go to Music Therapy Labs. Okay, Zach. Pretty sure you won something from me before. No, I'm not getting anything. Zach, have you never won something from me before? Wow. All right, dude, send me your info. musictherapylaz@gmail.com. Very easy to reach me. Not the Ray, therapy.
congrats.
But it's in the
Zach.
description too. At Gmail. At therapy. Type. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like not a millennial or whatever. And I like keys that when you push them down, they actually move down. Like I have a keyboard like that. I'm going to have the system here hooked
Oh
up.
yeah, you're also a
Not these
keyboard
little-
player, as I was gonna say.
Yeah, and not these like little soft touch things. I don't know, what I'm hitting over here.
Yeah, me too. I need a
All right,
clacky
Zach.
key.
Congratulations once again. And then just because I love Janice, this one's for you, Janice. Oh, come on.
And you got a nice message from Patty in the chat. I just want to highlight.
Okay, the
Thank
groaning
you very
moan.
much.
I have to do that for you. All right, we'll remove this from the screen here. Johnny thought he might pop in, but I know he's still recovering, and it was nice to see him pop into the chat early on. But I
Yeah,
think he's feeling a little better, right? So we'll see him on his show tonight. And there's all the other shows. There's Ben's show. We got Pete Thorne
Doesn't he have
coming
an
on.
interview
It's not
tonight?
already on.
Or was that tonight?
What's that?
Doesn't he have an interview tonight on a Sunday? Or
I
was that
think he does have something special going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of
Oh,
cool things
right.
coming up. You guys wait till you
Tune in.
see. And then next Saturday, he and I and my sweetie, and hopefully she'll come with me. Otherwise, I'll be giving Brent a call. We've got the Andy Summers show to go see in Monterey.
Nice.
And then next February, we're planning to go see G3, which is Eric Johnson, Satriani, and Steve Vai. Holy crap.
Yeah,
I mean, if
buddy.
they could do G5 and add Brian May and Jimmy Page there, then I'm done. We're good. No, I'm kidding. But anyway.
That's gonna be
amazing.
incredible.
That's
All
going
right,
to
so
be
Zach
incredible.
has said he will text you. He has a way of getting you.
All right. Yeah, I will send you my address on the Discord. Oh, maybe that's where I have you saved somewhere. Yeah, or just email me. Email is easier for me, Zach, if you don't mind. But yeah, you can do Discord if you want. And I always tell this to people: if you want to stay anonymous because you're on the internet here in hiding, whatever reason that you don't want your real name or whatever out there, you can have me send it to your friend or a relative. I don't care, just let them know it's coming in, your name, whatever you want me to put your name as. I don't care, we're all here to just spread the love of music and like we're hoping through this show tonight, what I was talking about, and check out all those links I had in the description, you guys. Music is really, really unique in how it lights up the brain and connects us all. And it's very interesting, and we're learning more and more about it. Music therapy is gaining more and more ground as a form of not just therapy, but a way of bringing about health to your physical body, even beyond just like the psychological and the good feeling dopamine, side of it. That's one side of it, but there are a lot of other sides to it too. I mean, how many of you guys have had a job? We talked about this before, and you can't imagine getting that job done without music going. That's another topic we can talk about in the future. We've talked about it a little bit
Many things.
on Labor Day. I think we talked about that, right? But all right, next week, next Sunday, we're gonna have our good friend Michael B back on talking about. You want to give us the topic? Like, what's it about?
I'm just gonna review the conference and how it went, and maybe provide some hope for the future for people that care about the kind of thing I'm into.
Absolutely. Which
And
is mental health care through music as a form of
I
therapy.
gotta say that the announcement thing I can't say because I have to meet somebody in person and
No worries.
talk about it. And if it goes well and everything clicks, I will have a little announcement.
I'm confident it will. And if it doesn't, it was meant to be. In either
Or
case, whatever
or it
happens.
needs more time to gestate.
Right. Exactly. Needs to.
Things that are not meant to be.
What's
No,
that,
it just
Janice?
seems some things might take time, you know.
Yeah, some things have to evolve. It takes a little
I
time.
can't wait to hear about it, man. I hope it all goes well
Yeah.
for you, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear about all your findings.
I'm definitely really happy and excited about how you found a way through no drugs for the most part, right? And mostly diet as a way to find not just overall physical health, but mental health, which is part of our physical health, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the chemistry, man.
Yeah.
So thank you guys all for joining the show today. Thank you guys for joining me here, my hostess of the mostest.
Janice, do you have an
Lalla there.
appearance coming up anytime?
Like how?
I don't know. Going to
Live.
be online singing live and then rocking out like you do.
There's the one guy, the drummer that was behind me the last gym I went to up in Middletown. Has a party on Tuesday, and he wants me to play at 10 o'clock at a club in Middletown, Connecticut, like an hour and a half away. How am I going to get home? I don't know. It's really on Halloween night.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
He's even got me on the bill already.
Oh wow!
He's gonna have to send an Uber to get you and bring you home.
Yeah, there you go. Tell her, paint my house. That's a movie.
I'll phone it in.
Yeah, phone it in.
And,
there you go. You can do it.
Kind of stuff.
What you're saying made me think about earlier about I'm not trying to hide my name. That's not. I'm the only person up here that doesn't have his name. I'm not trying to hide my identity.
No, you're not, because on Instagram he says his real self. Yeah.
Yeah. For those who don't know my name is Brent, and you guys are welcome to call me that. Or Octopus, whatever. It's just a funny name.
Or Magic Man.
But yeah, I used to be Magic Man at one point. But yeah, just in case you guys don't know my name.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, this is my I got the Lalla part too. So
there you go. Of La La Land. So thank you for joining and jumping in. I wasn't expecting Michael to be here for the whole time, so thanks for that, dude, because he had a lot of really poignant comments there, and bringing the chat in and helping us bring things back to the point.
It was a blast, and I appreciate being here. You guys are all
often does that for me. And we had a good time, but as usual, hoping that people learn something from this and help us grow this channel, you guys. I'm still trying to break 1,000 by the end of the year, and I'm gonna give away a guitar if I do. I don't know why the 1,000 number matters. Maybe it matters nothing, but yeah, why not make it fun, right? So help me break 1,000, you guys. Spread the word. Sign your kids up to it. Use their. I'm kidding. Do whatever it takes, but help me get to 1,000. And then I've got a ton of projects going on, right? Like I got the CC guitar project. I got to finish striping the green slime thing. I've got a not put together, because it's put together, but it's still missing that one screw. Fernando needs that one screw. Then we've got some other work to do on some other guitars, right? We've got the Jeff Beck guitar to put together, and I've got to finish those pedals that I got. I got to start putting those together, and then we got some cabs to build, right, Brent? We're gonna build some cabs for some speakers. I need a factory. Sounds like I need a factory. As a matter of fact, my sister and I were talking about getting in cahoots with each other on getting like a little studio space somewhere to practice and make some serious noise in. So that'll be fun too, because maybe I'll be able to do some of that stuff over there too. So we got to find a place to do that. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on here in this neck of the woods. But until next time, you guys, be safe, be good to each other. music, spread the love, and spread, the power of music as a force of peace in the world. And I guess all we can do is hope, but we can also, I think we can do more than just hope. We can put our talents and our skills to some form of action. Like I definitely want to get more involved in doing something locally with music to help people, either through the Guitars for Vets program or something like that. And yeah, if you have a little bit of spare change or something, instead of donating it to my channel, send it to one of these other organizations that are helping out there. I'm wearing this hat for a reason. I donate platelets. I'm going to be able to start donating platelets again now that the trip is over. So Red Cross is one that I donate to in that sense. I also donate money monthly to the Doctors Without Borders organization, because they're on the ground in a lot of places around the world where people are in need of care, everything from physical to emotional and whatnot, right? And there are the Guitars for Vets organization, and I just started to donate to that other organization about playing for a change, music bringing about change and connecting people globally to each other. I think that's one way to bridge the gap, right? So
You see I'm wearing lipstick today?
What's that?
You see I'm wearing lipstick today?
No. Here, get
Yeah,
close. Hold on.
You'll have to spotlight Janice.
Oh, look at that. Oh, wow. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Hold on. We got to give you one of these. All right, Janice. Thanks for that. Thanks for wearing lipstick.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. I didn't wear the Bedouin eyeshadow this time, but maybe next time.
Oh, Laz, can we end on a story from you?
Yeah. What story?
About the Valiant.
Okay, so Blackjack Guitar is asking. So, of course, it got shipped to me while I was gone. So I went back because nobody was here, even though I told them send it to my brother's house, but they said they didn't have the right name or person or email or something. I'm like, all right. So I contacted Henning and I says, look, Henning, let's just do this. So let's is there a way I can pick it up from them from NAM this year instead or something, because they'll be at NAM? He's like, they got a shop in LA, just pick it up from their shop. So we're going to arrange that, which is uber cool, ultra cool, because that might mean, because of all this crazy haywire kind of stuff going on with the shipping of this thing twice coming to me and getting sent back, it means that I'm going to get to go to the Valiant shop, whatever that means, in LA to pick it up. So I'm jazzed about that.
It'll be triumphant, Valiant.
Right? Yeah. So, and I'm looking forward to that. On my way down there, depending on when I'm going to be able to organize that with them, either it's going to be this Thanksgiving weekend if they're available. If not, I understand. If not, because people don't work on that weekend, Then it might be when I go down to visit my dad for his birthday between Christmas and New Year's. His birthday's on the 29th. So I might go down, one of those days between Christmas and New Year's for a couple days to visit him, and then try to visit some other people along the way there, like maybe Amanda Peters and I need to get together. She did an amazing job on this Blue Moon special. This is what I could call it, the Blue Moon special. Brian May style, like a red special guitar, but blue. And she built it with this moon in it with some LED like star lights around it. It's just amazing. Just check her out on Instagram. That's where she's mostly posting stuff.
I was going to say that.
But Amanda Peters, man, and then she just recently did this Dove, painting on a guitar. It's like 70s Strat that she donated to this artist that she totally loves, that really helped inspire her to get back into her art and everything. I forget his name suddenly, but amazing artist, very, very groovy dude. And that's oh my god. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Amanda and delivering her her Tiger. That's another favorite of hers, Tiger. Delivering, because she's a Detroit gal, the Tigers. So we got to deliver that to her and pick up one other pedal from her. I think the Maximus overdrive pedal, I think she has, or I can't remember even what kind of pedal that is, but it's an enclosure. And then I got to put those together. So we're going to be learning how to solder, which isn't that hard, I don't think. So until next time, you guys. Yeah.
That's the show.
Wow. That's the show. Almost went 2 hours. Rock on. Be good to each other. And don't forget, the secret of tone is in your mind, but the feel comes from your heart. put it together with musical instruments and friends, which I'm planning to do more of, playing music. Let's really make it happen this year. All right.
And we have to talk about the piano.
Yeah, we'll do that after the show.
Keep on picturing, guys.
All right. Yeah. All right. Rock on, man. See you guys
Thank
later.
you very much, everybody. Have a nice day.
Picture on.